What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Code Vein 2 video. Now today I wanted to rank all 7 weapon types from worst to best. And I know how these tier lists end up going. Put down your pitchforks and let me make my arguments. I think all of these classes have their own strengths and weaknesses, and yeah, you could beat the game with any of these weapons, but after playing with each weapon for several hours, with different forma combinations and learning the weapon's movesets, I can give my opinion on which just work better than others. Whether it's your first playthrough and you're trying to figure out which weapon to pick up, or you're heading into your second run and want to try something new, I'm sure this list will steer you in the right direction. And don't worry, no boss spoilers in the background footage. Now let's get started with number 7. Alright, kicking off the bottom of this list are the hammers. Now they did speed them up a little bit from Code Vein 1, however they still just feel incredibly slow. I believe they have the longest startup from light attack until you actually connect with the weapon itself. And don't get me wrong, I like the big strength-based Unga Bunga weapons, but there are far better options in a game like this. This one definitely feels like the heaviest option for a strength-based build, but the bosses in this game are incredibly fast and aggressive with their movesets. And picking up the slowest weapon class in the game is not setting yourself up for success. On a positive note, this weapon does have some good stagger potential on smaller enemies, and since we have the ability to now do jump attacks in this game, it does open up new avenues for combat. If you are going to pick this route, you'll definitely need to play carefully. Learn the boss attack patterns and learn when to counterattack. This is definitely not for the button mashers. At number 6 we have the Rune Blades. So this is a new weapon type added to the series with this game. And I gotta say, I get the direction they're going with these. A lot of their weapon form involves you tossing your blades out into an AoE move, leaving you moving around kind of defenseless. Yeah, you can still kick and punch for much less damage, but it gives you the opportunity to play support while the blades are out doing their thing. You can cast your blades out, take a step back to heal or use a consumable, or if you're brave, attack in the other direction with your Fists of Fury while your blades watch your own back. One of the pros with this weapon is its range. Even the light and heavy attacks of this thing have some good reach, but there is an attack delay which is kind of annoying. Since your character needs to swing their arm to activate the blades, it just feels like a delayed reaction instead of just smoothly moving along with your character. This weapon does have a high skill ceiling. If you're good at positioning and timing, I could see making these things work. But for myself, these blades really aren't for me, but I could see why you'd want to use them over other weapons. Now, even though I do have the bayonet towards the bottom half of this list, I don't think it's bad. If you want to play a pure range character, then this is the best weapon for you. Heck, if you want to be a hybrid with half range, half melee, this is still a pretty good option. This is one of those weapons that has a decent list of pros and cons on both sides. For the cons, its melee moveset is kind of bad. It is a blade attached to your rifle after all, it's not really a melee weapon. And you do have to reload this thing in the middle of combat all the time. And now, since this isn't a third-person shooter, it's a Souls-like, so having to stop and reload when you're in the middle of a boss fight isn't where you want to be at. Now, those cons aside, there are a lot of good unique weapon forma to keep your ranged DPS nice and high. There's a unique skill that keeps all your ranged attacks up, dealing extra damage. There's also this cool one that rains down shots, which is nice for grouped up enemies as well as the larger bosses. And keeping away from boss attacks is always a plus in games like this. If you can have your partner keep aggro off of you while you just plink away, hey, you won't have much issues with this one. If your burden can handle it, I guess most people are going to have this as their second weapon in their loadout. Range options are hard to come by, and picking up enemies before they can get in close is nice. At number 4, the one-handed sword comes right smack dab in the middle of this tier list, and for good reason. It really does feel like a middle-of-the-road weapon. It's well-balanced, doesn't do anything particularly well, and it is beginner-friendly. There's even a tutorial tip that says so. And let's talk about the negatives first. It has a much shorter reach than most of the weapons on this list. It doesn't really excel at one thing either. It does have a nice quick attack speed, the animations are pretty short so you can end your combo early to dodge an enemy attack, and it actually is kind of fun to use. Someone in my Twitch chat mentioned that in Code Vein 2 these feel like the katana archetype for this game, and honestly I think they nailed it. It's quick, unique to the rest of the weapons, and I like the moveset. But there are definitely better options out there. And hey, if you vibe with the one-handed sword, keep using it. I think once I get to like my 3rd run, I'll probably give this one a full playthrough. And this flame blade that I'm using in the background footage is the one that I recommend. Alright, we're inching our way to the top of the list, and at number 3 we have the Halbirds. This is the best crowd control weapon by far. If you're ever backed into a corner with multiple enemies surrounding you, well, that's just a perfect setup for this weapon. A lot of Halberds have this side-sweeping attack chain that's good for multiple hits. I, however, like the Impaler, because this one functions more like a spear with its direct attacks. It's less good for crowd control situations, sure, but it's better for more one-on-ones and bosses. But there is a weapon form you can use on this weapon to get some of that AoE back in the mix, and this weapon does have some insane reach which can't be overlooked. If I had to pick a con, I guess its attack speed is a bit on the slower side, Like, I'm not complaining, its attack speed is definitely faster than hammers or rune blades for sure. And if you used a different halberd, it might not be the best boss weapon because of its wide, slower attacks, but honestly I'm just nitpicking. Oh baby, if you like the big bonking weapons, then this is the best of the best. All you strength enjoyers that like great swords and other Souls games are going to love this class. One of my favorite things about this weapon is its precision. You'll roll an enemy attack and then counterattack with a single hit. This isn't a button mashing weapon, but a precise machine. So the con is obvious, it's slow, but it's the king of the slow weapons. If you can time your shots, this will carry you through the entire game. It can deal massive damage per hit, making it the best choice for the non-spamming builds. Not to mention the huge stagger potential, obviously. You can straight stun lock some of the lesser mobs in this game. And it does have a cool unique weapon forma that deflects incoming attacks. If you're going in this game wanting the slower strength-based approach, definitely pick this one over the hammer class. And the nice thing too, there's a lot of dexterity scaling greatswords in this game, so if you want to switch it up halfway through, you can definitely do that without having to switch out your entire build. And at the #1 spot, we have my personal favorite recommendation, the Twin Blades. The second new weapon type added to this game was absolutely nailed. If you like dexterity-based multi-hit weapons in Souls games, look no further. These weapons have the fastest attack speed in the game, which also makes them good candidates if you wanted to go a status effect build like Venom or Stun. These fire-based ones I'm using here became a favorite weapon as soon as I found them. Now the class has a con for sure, they all do, and this weapon probably has the shortest reach of all the weapons in this game. You're going to be close enough to smell the cologne on the Revenant Hunters you'll be fighting. But hey, deal. The bosses in this game want to attack with super fast endless combos, well 2 can play at that game, kiddo. It's super easy to get in, get your attacks going, and then get back out as soon as the boss begins their moveset. And if your partner is pulling aggro, forget about it. The boss gets deleted before they can even realize they messed up. There's a good amount of weapon forma that end with you backstepping to get out of danger, and pretty much all of the charge heavy attacks have you dashing right back into it. And that's called good design. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. Be sure to let me know what your favorite weapons are so far. I'm probably going to work my way backwards with this list and do a best early to late game builds for these weapons, so subscribe if you want to see that. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.